Hey guys, I've been meaning to make a video on Vietnam. I get a lot of requests for this kind of thing. So, um, yeah, we're gonna take a trip out to the Sontra Resort, which is just kind of past the Big Buddha. And I'm just waiting for Luya to change her clothes and grab a helmet. I'm gonna record part of the footage along the way, so you have some scenery to watch, and I'll continue the video once we're at the resort. So see you in a bit. So we've made a little pit stop here at, I'm not sure what this place is called, but this is, I don't know, a little square in the middle of nowhere. I think this is kind of the place where they come to take wedding photos, you know. Kind of looks like some kind of lapa. Anyway, you can see the city over there. We'll get a little higher up. The Big Buddha is just above us. You can see it there through the trees, the Big Buddha. Except we're not going to the Big Buddha today. I'll do another video on the Big Buddha at some point. We're actually going to one of my favorite spots in Da Nang today. A place I'd like to occasionally chill at. So yeah, I think we'll continue our trip. What do you want? Oh. Yeah, I think we're just going to have a smoke break and then continue our trip. See you in a bit. Okay, so we've arrived at the Sontra Resort, a place I Actually, I don't come here often enough, but it's a really, really nice place. And you're going to see in about a minute why. Just move down the steps here, and you're going to see this resort is right on the beach. It's literally almost against the ocean. Very pretty, very beautiful. And it has this really nice coffee shop that I sometimes like to visit. And you got the beach here with the rocks. It's really stunning. One of my favorite places. I'll just sort of give you a nice view of the place, as you can see here. Really, really stunning. Just look at that beach. Coffee shops up over there. That's where we're going now. And you know, it's just got a lot of condos over here. So yeah, this is called the Sontra Resort in Da Nang City. The actual city, as you can see, the city is over there. So we're about 20 minutes away, I think. Took us about 20 minutes to get here. So pretty cool. So yeah, let's go have a seat and order some drinks. So the coffee shop was a little bit too busy. It was very noisy there, so I didn't really want to make a video there. Pity, you know. Maybe next time. So I'll just record this our trip back and give you some scenery along the way. And yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about Vietnam. I've had a lot of requests from people asking me about Vietnam, especially friends back home, a lot of people on Facebook. And I guess with the state that Europe is currently in, a lot of the foreigners are flocking to Asia, and the same for South Africa. So, you know, a lot of people know I've been to China, and now I'm in Vietnam. So I get a lot of questions about China, and I get a lot of questions about Vietnam. So I thought I would just make some videos, because I actually went online and I couldn't really find much info on Vietnam. There's a lot on China, but very little on Vietnam. You'll see a lot of videos about food, and you'll see a lot of videos of people traveling like a 2-day tour to Vietnam, and they take the video of their trip, but they don't really give any kind of information. You know, what's the cost of living, what's the employment like here, none of that stuff. So I'm going to be making a whole series of videos, and they will all focus on answering these questions. I'll theme them, you know. I'll make one about living costs, and one about food specifically, and one about employment, and so I'll go on, and one about visa process. And anyway, so this video is mainly just the introduction. I want to tell you a little bit about Da Nang, and my Da Nang, which is the city that I'm currently in here in Vietnam, and you know, a little bit about the history of the city and what it's about, and so forth, and my living experience here. So I've been now in Vietnam for 1.5 years, so a year and a half. I was 1 year in, well, just under a year in China before Vietnam. And I was meant to go to Korea. You know, the plan was to come to Vietnam, stay a little bit, and then move on to Korea. But I ended up staying in Vietnam because it's just so very, very awesome. I mean, it's really, really awesome. It's very beautiful. It's like stunningly beautiful everywhere you go. Extremely green. You see, as you see in the video, it's green everywhere, and I really like green. And then you know, it's also probably one of the safest places I've been to. You know, it gets very hot here in the summer, so a lot of people go to the beach late at night. And even if, you know, even the few occasions that I've gone down to the beach at like 12 or 2 a.m. and I walk around, I've seen, like, you'll see girls just walking on the beach alone, all on their own, not a care in the world, not even scared. And I think to myself, wow, you cannot do that in South Africa. So it's very safe here. There's virtually no violent crime here. I don't think the police even carry guns. So the kind of crime you might get here is probably petty crime. I've heard some stories, but I've never physically seen it myself. You know, stuff like pickpocketing, it's never happened to me, but I've heard stories. I suppose that's kind of, you know, this is a tourist city, that kind of thing's expected. Maybe at the airports or something, I don't know. But I've never experienced any kind of crime here, so I've always felt very, very safe here.
So that's very important, especially for the South Africans. That's very, very important. I suppose for the Europeans now as well. Um, Da Nang was founded in 192 AD. Yeah, it's in the central of Vietnam. It's literally on the sea. I mean, it's right against the sea. So it's ocean-based city. It's the tourist hub of Vietnam. And you get different holidays. You get the Tet holiday and you get the summer holiday, which is about to start in about a month. And then this place is full. It's fairly. It's got about a million people that live here at the moment. But summer holiday, this place gets packed. Millions and millions of people come here, and you cannot move in the city. It has about 1 million tourists moving through it a year, I think, roughly, maybe a bit more. But it truly is a beautiful place. The lifestyle here is very relaxing. You can it's very chilled. Really, it's kind of beach lifestyle. So very chilled. The cost of living is very low. It's very, very cheap. Everything's really cheap, especially because you get paid in dollars as a teacher. So really, really cheap. And it's a booming city. There's a lot of development going on, as you will see in the video. Everywhere you look, there's hotels going up, buildings going up. I don't think you can drive down any street without seeing concrete lying around and rubble lying around because they're putting up some new building or some new hotel or some better breakfast. There's a lot of development going on, especially on this route that we're driving now. Just buildings everywhere going up. I think they're kind of rushing it for the summer holiday, to get a lot of it done, because most of it is hotels and B&Bs. But it really is a big boom. So yeah, I've driven past areas where I kind of drove past a few months ago and there was nothing, and then drove past again now and I see, wow, there's like 20 new houses here, or 3 new hotels, or that kind of thing. So there's this one area that we drove past earlier. It was just one open field. I drove past there maybe a year ago. It was a huge open field with nothing there. And drive past there now and I see, wow, there's like a whole neighborhood there that never existed before. So they build quickly, and they build a lot, Anyway, so it's a booming city, lot of tourists. And I think that this is one of the few places in Vietnam that is actually a sort of very clean, the air quality. Coming from China, where I experienced a lot of pollution, I really appreciated the clean area. The blue skies, which you see just about every day. I mean, apart from the clouds now, the actual skies are very clean. And also, their main form of transportation here is motorbikes. I mean, you'll see some cars and mostly taxis and some tour buses, but majority of people just drive a motorbike. I mean, scooters here is pretty much what you see everywhere. So you don't really get pollution here, but you do sometimes get, you'll stop at a robot or a traffic light, and you'll be surrounded by like 40 motorbikes, and the fumes kind of get a little bit in your face. So you'll see everybody here does drive with a mask, and it's not because of like air quality or pollution or anything like that. I think it's mostly because when you stop at a traffic light, you're surrounded by like thousands of motorbikes, and that fumes that get in your face. Another reason too that you'll see everybody dressed up like they almost look like Muslims, the way they dress with covering their faces and covering everything, is in Asia. The girls hate the sun. They all want to be white, and the sun burns their skin. And so even in the middle of summer, they will put on long clothes, they'll put on a face mask, they'll put on a hat, they'll put on gloves, they'll put on anything to cover every inch of their body just to avoid the sun. When they drive around at night, all of that comes off, then they're out in their bikinis at night basically. But during the day with the sun out, they cover everything they possibly can, as to avoid the actual direct sunlight. Anyway, so this is a really great city. Vietnam is really great. It's it's very peaceful here, really, really peaceful. Such a like very relaxing lifestyle. And the process for coming here, I know a lot of guys are going to wonder about the whole visa process and how difficult is it to get into Vietnam. You know, I'm going to do a whole separate movie on a video on that. But I will say that the process coming to Vietnam is much easier than going to China, because it seems, you know, the guys are choosing mostly between like China, Vietnam, which way should I go. China, you kind of, they're a lot stricter on things like visas. It's a lot harder and more difficult to get it, where Vietnam, you know, you just do a little online. Most of the foreigners here come with tourist visa. They'll come on a tourist visa, which is very easy to get, and then once they find work at a school, they'll convert it to a working permit, obviously, you know, because you're not allowed to work on a tourist visa. It is illegal. They will deport you. So the guys will usually come over on a tourist visa, which is really cheap. It's $25 and $25 stamping fee as well. So it's $50 for the visa. And it's a little online form that you fill in. It takes 2 days. They send you a letter and you fly. It's really that easy. And then it allows you, depending which country you come from, it will allow you to be here for 90 days. So you've got 90 days to sort of run around and look for work, which is plenty as well, because work is so easy to find here. And then then once you find a school, you start processing your work permit, and you know, Bob's your uncle. So the whole process is actually quite simple. It's really not that difficult. Whereas in China, you know, to get your work permit, you got to go to Hong Kong, and some people have to go all the way home, or they have to arrange the whole thing before they even come over, and it's months and months of lots of paperwork and stress. And yeah, it really is so much more difficult going to China than it is coming to Vietnam. Not to mention that the Chinese really are not that fond of foreigners. I mean, they let foreigners in, they let them come there, they let them teach, but they really make every single possible process as difficult as possible. You know, anything you need to do, they will drag it out, draw it out, and make it really as unpleasant as possible for you. Whereas in Vietnam, everything is, you know, the opposite. Everything's so much easier here. Everything's just done, simplified. So I remember in China, even for sort of topping up the airtime on my phone, you know, I had to actually physically have my passport with me. And quite often you have to have a Chinese friend with you as well. You know, it was so complicated just to even do something as simple as get airtime for a cell phone. Where in Vietnam, I just walk into a store and I just buy a little airtime sticker and I'll just put it on my phone and I'm out of there. No passport needed. It's just everything here so much more simplified. So I really, really like that too. But it is a great place to be. Vietnam is really awesome. So this was just an intro video. The visa process to come here is quite simple. I'll make a video on that sometime. The lifestyle here is great. Cost of living here is really cheap. A 3-star hotel. You know, I stayed my first 8.5 months here. I stayed in a 3-star hotel. A 3-star hotel is about 6 million VND, and if you compare that to the dollar, that's about $250. If you consider that as a foreigner, an English teacher here, you probably earn between anything, depending if you work part-time or full-time, anywhere between about $1,000 and $3,000-4,000 a month. You know, $250 is not a lot for rent, and that's for a really nice 3-star hotel. Anyway, I'll make a video on the cost of living soon, and various other topics. So yeah, feel free to leave comments below. You know, if you want me to make a video on a specific topic, just mention it below. Or if you've had a Vietnamese experience, then maybe, you know, post that as well. I'll be making a lot more videos soon, covering a whole vast majority of topics and going everywhere. Yeah guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and keep an eye out for all the videos coming soon. I'll be making a whole bunch of them, and I really hope to see you guys in Vietnam. So This is Jacques living it up in Vietnam. Cheers.